The theaters at Kentucky Performing Arts are dark, but through the arts, we provide our community with so much light. KPA at Home is showcasing that light, showcasing the artists, connecting them with you, and providing them with paying gigs in a time of need. We want to thank Brown Forman, Commonwealth Credit Union, and the Tourism Arts and Heritage Cabinet for their support of this project and keeping the arts alive, but more importantly, keeping hope alive. So you keep hope, you keep safe, and we look forward to the day when we can enjoy music together in person again.
Hello, everyone. Hello, and thank you for joining me tonight for Kentucky Performing Arts at Home. It is wonderful to see you this evening, even though I can't technically see you. I hope that you are tuning in virtually for a night of poetry and dance and music. So I am here tonight, and my first piece of poetry will be I Love Me. First, let me say my name is Hannah Drake. I am a local poet in Louisville, and I was invited by Jecorey Arthur. Jecorey Arthur will be joining me tonight along with Brandon Ragland from the Louisville Ballet. So the first piece I'm going to do is called I Love Me, and I'm going to invite Jecorey in to play instrumental behind this piece of poetry. So Jecorey, if you could come on and join me, that would be wonderful. Hello, Jecorey, how are you?
Peace, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
So this first piece is called I Love Me. I love me. The words are trapped in my mouth as I see my reflection. I choke on the thought that I could actually love myself, that I could speak those words out loud and birth them into the universe, that I could conjure up the belief that I am lovable and let I love me flow from my lips. The words are like thick paste swirling over my tongue, the thought hard to swallow and even harder to regurgitate and say, I love me. So I mouth them slowly, watch my lips form the words, almost afraid to look at my reflection in the mirror. It is wrong to love me. I've convinced myself because my life has been tainted that loving me is not an option. You see, I had self-love stolen from me in an instance when I thought I could love. So instead of loving me, I hated me. And my mind constantly reminded me that I was unworthy of self-love. Because who could ever love me when I reeked of self-hate, which permeated my inner self? And the stench of my hungover past, it oozed from my pores like leprosy and infected anyone that came near me with my inner negativity. Yet I whisper them, I love me. And still my conscience is not so convinced or even mildly persuaded. How could I believe that I was lovable when my soul bore graffiti like a New York subway with words unmentionable? And the question rings out again, do you love yourself? The question clouded by memories that I fought to forget, yet they hover over my conscience, reminding me that I am unworthy of self-love. So I attempt to meet the question with more deceit. You see, lying to myself is sadly common. The outward mask of who I am once concealed my fear and my pain and my frustration. I lied to myself for so long that for a brief second, I believed those lies and could not face the truth of my self-sabotaging behavior. As I look beyond my exterior and gaze into my interior, I can no longer conceal my truth. I do not recognize this decoy staring back at me. She is my social doppelganger. The woman that smiles and pretends that in her outward beauty she is confident, but you see inwardly, she and I know she is broken. I cannot lie to her because her eyes are my eyes and she is on display. Surface attributes faded away. There are no adornments here. Broken, discouraged, confused, lonely, raw, open, honest, just me and my reflection. So I say them out loud. I love me. The words foreign to my ears, a voice of strength and courage, a voice I do not recognize. I am lovable. You are lovable, Hannah. And I fight and I fight and I fight daily through the tears to believe that I am worthy of loving myself, disregarding the tears that fall silently on my face, because in one word, acceptance, I can see that I am lovable. Allowing acceptance of my imperfections, knowing that imperfections makes life interesting, makes life worth living, makes life worth loving, makes me worth loving. I am lovable. Recognizing that no one can love me better than I love myself, because I've been given beauty for my bruises, that my storms only allowed my destiny to be irrigated unto fruition, that the scars that crisscross and form calluses over my soul were only to make me stronger. My flaws are a sign of triumph, my pain now a symbol of victory. Do you love yourself? This time, the answer is not shadowed by lies, but spotlighted by the truth. Yes, I do. So I shout them. I love me. Thank you very much. That's that piece. Thank you, Jecorey, for joining me. And I would now like to bring on Brandon Ragland, please. I met Brandon years ago. Brandon performed with me and my friend Cynthia Brown when we were members of Roots and Wings. How are you, Brandon?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you. It's so nice to actually see people, right?
Yeah, I know. It's good to see you too.
So thank you so much for joining us tonight. And thank you, one, for this piece, because all of this piece kind of birthed out of you. And and Brandon invited me to work with him during the choreographer showcase. And he was the choreographer for this piece of music, along with a few other pieces that I'm going to do tonight. But this one, he sent the music and asked me to write to it. And I wrote this poem, Dawn. I absolutely love the music, and asked Brandon if he would join me tonight as I did the poem, and he danced. So Brandon, whenever you're ready to start the music and the dance, and I will, of course, join you with poetry.
All right. I'll get it started.
Dawn, the first appearance of light, the beginning, birth, inception, genesis, an emergence, an appearance, an arrival, to begin, to start, to be born, to appear, to arrive, to rise, to break, to unfold, to develop, to become evident to the mind, be perceived or understood. Every day that we awaken is a new dawn, a chance to start over, to begin again, to birth something new, to show patience. Every day that we awaken is a day to love, to offer forgiveness, to understand, to try, to heal. Every day that we awaken is a day to lose ourselves, to find ourselves, to dream, to dance, to believe, to show compassion, to give, to say I'm sorry, to breathe, to exhale, to take it all in, and to dare to take a chance. What is your dawn? And what is your new day? What awaits you on the horizon of change? You see, hope begins in the dark. The stubborn hope that if you just show up and try to do the right thing, then the dawn will come. So you wait and you watch and you work and you don't give up. What could we be if we weren't afraid? And what could we become if we loved? If we embraced our differences? If we celebrated our uniqueness? What could we be if we chose to fear and love anyway? Who could we be and reach the impossible? How high could we soar? Can you never let me fly? Will you take my hand together than you can? Nothing will be impossible when we stood together. A new day awaits me. All we have to do is rise, reach the dawn. Brandon, that was absolutely beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Remarkable. Thank you so much for that piece, for the music, for your dance. It in this try not to get emotional. I know
Me
Kentucky
too.
performing arts is like we ain't get you out here to be emotional. But when you think about everything going on in the world, to think like every day we have an opportunity.
Exactly.
And to see you dance was beautiful.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
So thank you.
So much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Woo, I said I wasn't gonna cry. So we are going to bring back in Jecorey. Jecorey is going to play some music for us as we continue this evening of expression and this evening of dance and poetry and music, and certainly taking the people listening on a journey through history and certainly through current events, as we all know that we are facing a pandemic. And we know that even in spite of it being a pandemic, life is still happening and life goes on. And some of the things that we have to deal with in life, be it hardships and racism and homelessness and sickness, and these things simply don't stop because there's a pandemic. And we are currently facing, it's Mother's Day weekend, and many of you, if you've watched the news and you've seen the death of Ahmaud Arbery, who was jogging. And I thought about his mother for Mother's Day weekend and how she must be feeling during this time. Jecorey will be playing a piece, Strange Fruit, made famous by the legendary Nina Simone. And then I will follow that up with a piece of poetry entitled Ain't I Mother. Thank you, Jecorey. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't think of him, especially when the rain falls. He loved the rain, said God was making everything new. I wonder if he's there in the clouds, in the dew, Does he hear me? Can he see me? Sometimes I hear his voice on the wind, see his smile in the face of a child, fragments of him scattered in memories. I'm clutching for anything to make sense. Who picks up the pieces of a soul that has been shattered? Will I ever feel whole again? I just want to feel normal. They said this would get easier, that time would soothe the pain, yet life hasn't given me a moment to grieve, and ain't I a mother? Ain't I got a right to hurt? He was my only child, ain't I got a right to cry? Ain't I got a right to weep for grandchildren that I'll never know? Ain't I got a right to my sorrow? My son was a good kid, but good Black boys scream from the grave daily, and every day I hear him wailing among the willows. As I watch the sun set just beneath the horizon, I listen, hoping for a new day that never seems to come. You didn't see him. You never saw him. His beauty, his heart, his compassion. How many shots did it take? What were his last words? Was anyone there to hold his hand? Was he cold? How long did it take for him to die? Did he ask for me? You see, I said I would always be there to ease his pain, bandage his wounds, tell him that it's gonna be okay, but this time, it won't be okay. I promised I would protect him, I would cover him, and now you want me to understand when you say that you are sorry. Did you notice that his blood was red like yours? That his heart beat like yours, that he had dreams just like your little boy? I told him that he would push beyond barriers. I told him that he would carry the weight of the world in his hands. I longed to rewind time, see him again, tell him this world will be a better place. Tell him that this world says it's sorry. Tell him that one day his skin won't be his sentence. Tell him that one day he would soar, that one day he would chase the stars. Tell him that one day he would change the world, that one day he would stretch his arms out and fly. Tell him that one day this world would just let him be. But you see, rewinding time is gone. My life is nothing now but grasping for second chances. Where do I go from here? Where do we go from here? When are we gonna pull back the mask? When are we gonna face the truth? My son didn't die so that we would be quiet. People don't die so that we can be whispers. I declare that I will not be silenced any longer. I will no longer be invisible. I hear you, son, and I vow to be your shout among crowds of whispers. You see, my son's death will not be in vain. I am the voice of our ancestors, of generations. I am the voice of old Negro spirituals. I am the shoulders that carry the weight of suffering. I am the heart of a mother. So no longer do I wait. No longer do we wait. Today, we speak, we shout, we yell, vowing that the blood that wells, crying out, rustling through the wind, will be heard. Thank you all so much for hearing that piece. It's entitled Ain't I a Mother? And it's especially important to me on Mother's Day weekend as we think about those who have lost their children, and that we certainly remember them and honor their children this weekend and during this time. So the next piece that I would like to do, many people have heard this piece, but I love it. It's called Spaces. And I wrote this piece indeed thinking about the spaces within the city of Louisville and certainly Kentucky, the state, and really our nation, as I think about how people feel included or excluded from particular spaces. This is my most requested poem ever. When I wrote it, I certainly didn't know that was going to be the case, but I think it resonated with people because everybody has felt at a time where they didn't fit in, where they didn't belong somewhere. I think this piece is even more relevant right now as we social distance and think about creating new spaces and how that's going to look for Louisville, how that's going to look for Kentucky and our nation. And I think now many people are cognizant of their body in space and how they take up space. So I think it's certainly something that's relevant and on our minds. So this poem, it's called Spaces. It is difficult to stand in spaces, spaces that weren't designed for me, spaces that were not created for people that look like me, spaces that scream, you do not belong here, spaces that feel like sandpaper against my blackness, coarse and rough and painful and uneasy, spaces that are void of signs, but still I can see them hanging in a not so distant memory. Signs that separated water fountains and restaurants, blatantly reminding people that these spaces were not made for them. And although the signs no longer remain, the architectured atmosphere is constructed in such a way that I know and we know that these are not our spaces. We are simply standing in borrowed time to entertain the master's masses. It is difficult to stand in these spaces and be me, fully me, code switching my vernacular to make you feel comfortable. Why must my life dress itself up in discomfort for you to feel at ease? Why must my hair look a certain way in these spaces? Why is my gender an issue in these spaces? You see, these are spaces I no longer want to reside in. I do not enjoy being in these spaces. I no longer want to subject myself to these spaces, but then I am reminded as I stand in these spaces and I see the faces of these two little Black girls watching me perform in awe, because I'm a woman with kinky hair like them and skin that looks like theirs and lips that look like theirs, standing in these spaces. Spaces that have been designed in ways that have spoken to them at an early age, reminding them, baby, some spaces just ain't for your kind. You see, that is why I'm in these spaces being a shout in these spaces. It is for every Black person that has ever entered a room and wondered, would anyone look like them in these spaces? It is for every woman that has stood at the head of a boardroom table wondering, would she be considered equal in these spaces? It is for every LGBTQ person that has wondered, could they safely be themselves in these spaces? It is for every Muslim woman that has wondered, could she wear her hijab in these spaces? You see, I remember those that stood in spaces not made for them, that marched on roads not paved for them, that sat down on seats in buses not earmarked for them, that sat down at counters and endured the humiliation of sitting in spaces so that one day I too could stand in these spaces. You see, that is why I'm in these spaces. It is for everyone that came before me, that sipped water at the colored only fountain, that marched into integrated schools and knew they would be just one of 9. It is for every Black performer that stood on stages so that one day little Black kids could know that they too could stand on these stages. It is for my mother that stood in the space of a cotton field picking cotton for 80 cents a day. It is for everyone that will come after me, for them to know that they have a right to be in these spaces, to have a seat at the table, in these spaces, to have a voice, in these spaces, to have influence, in these spaces. You see, that is why I stand in these spaces even when it makes me uncomfortable. And now some of you sit looking at me, and now you feel uncomfortable. But today you have heard me. You cannot unsee me. In this space, I belong. In this space, we are here. and we belong here in this space. Thank you so much. That's one of my favorite pieces. And if you walk away from here tonight with nothing but knowing that you belong in the spaces that you are in, and I invite you to please take up space, take up as much space as you can, because you are here and you belong here. So the next piece I'm going to do is called Power. And I would like to invite Jecorey back to join me. Hello, Jecorey.
Peace.
Now I want to, yeah, let me see there. So I can, yeah. And Brandon, so I think if Brandon can hear me now, I'm gonna invite Brandon back, because I did not spotlight his video, so they could not see his dance. So I may invite him back after we do Power, because the dance was beautiful and I want everybody to see it. So, but now I will do Power, and Jecorey, you can go for what you know. I will start and you just please join me. Is that cool? All right. Power. The capacity or ability to influence the behavior of others or the course of events. Power, physical might. Power, the energy or motive force by which a physical system or machine is operated. Power, that thing that is in you, rumbling deep in your gut, flowing through your veins, making your heart beat. That feminine instinct that allows an ordinary woman to do extraordinary things. That allows a high school dropout to go back to school, that allows a woman beat down to leave an abusive relationship, that gives a woman the courage to say, I love you, but I love me a little bit more. That thing that says, not tomorrow, not when I turn 40, not because it's a new year, not when I retire, but today. Today is the day that I will muster up the power within me to take back everything that is stolen from me, to fulfill my dreams, to leave a job that doesn't pay me what I'm worth, to look cancer in the face and say, give me your best shot. Today is the day that I declare that diabetes doesn't have to be generational, that the curse of molestation ceases with me, that I will stop living paycheck to paycheck, that I will become a role model for my children, that I recognize that if I'm good enough to sleep with, then I'm good enough to marry. Today is the day that the pity party comes to an end. The time for excuses is over. Today is the day that I declare that I will no longer live defeated. I will not dim my light in order for you to feel brighter, baby. I was born to shine. I am more than a conqueror. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I'm a righteous woman that falls down 7 times but gets up 8. I am fearfully and wonderfully made. I am a woman with unlimited possibilities and infinite potential. I possess the power to make daydreams reality, to make my life one that matters. And today is the day that I step into my destiny. I can be whatever I say I can be, and I am whoever I say I am. And today I say I'm strong, beautiful, wise, intelligent, authentic, revolutionary, destined for greatness. I am a woman. I am a woman that loves hard and strong. I'm a woman that loves pink frilly things. I'm a woman that struts in her stilettos and embraces her curves unapologetically. I'm a woman that loves being a woman, being treated like a lady, but never attempt to paint me into a corner, because baby wasn't meant to be put in a corner. My life cannot be defined by coloring in lines. I am 360 degrees of pure femininity, bolstered by his promises to me. And today is the day that we access our power. And by doing that, we give another woman the ability to grasp hers, to shine, to grow, to illuminate everything that is placed inside of her. You see, someone right now, right at this very moment, is waiting on you to be all that you can be, so that they can be all that they are destined to be. We are the key to someone's lock. We are strength personified. We are the epitome of power. We are women. And together we possess the ability to change policies, to change communities, and to change lives. And to finally exhale, ladies, and just breathe with ease. Today is the day that we access our power. That's that piece. Thank you, Jecorey. Brandon, if you are still on, can you join me again?
Yep.
Hello, Brandon, here we are. No technology, honey.
Right.
And we only have a few minutes, and I know you danced once, but I did not pin your video, I think. So I don't know if people saw your dance.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So you just got to run it back, honey.
I'm ready. We can do it.
Okay, let me pull it up, and I'm ready because I want to pin you and highlight you because it's beautiful, and I want people to certainly see your dance because it was beautiful. I'm gonna spotlight your video there, and did I spotlight and pin it so it's there? And if you can run it back, Brandon, I will love you to pieces.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
Dawn, the first appearance of light, the beginning, birth, inception, genesis, an emergence, an appearance, an arrival, to begin, to start, to be born, to appear, to arrive, to rise, to break, to unfold, to develop, to become evident to the mind, to perceive or understood. Every day that we awake, it is a new dawn, a chance to start over, to begin again, to birth something new. Every day that we awake, it is a time to show patience, to love, to offer forgiveness, to understand, to try. Every day that we awake, it is a chance to heal, to lose ourselves, to find ourselves, to dream, to dance, to believe, to show compassion, to give, to say I'm sorry, to breathe, to exhale, to take it all in, to care, to take a chance. What is your dawn? And what is your new day? What awaits you on the horizon of change? You see, hope begins in the dark. The stubborn hope that if you just show up and try to do the right thing, then the dawn will come. So you wait and you watch and you work and you don't give up. What could we be if we weren't afraid? And what could we become if we loved? If we embraced our differences? If we celebrated our uniqueness? If we chose to disregard our fear and love anyway? Who could we be? And what could we accomplish? How high could we soar? Did you ever dream of flying? If you take my hand, together we can. Nothing would be impossible if we stood together. A new day awaits us, and all we have to do is rise and greet the dawn. Brandon, it was even more beautiful the second time. I thank you so much for sharing your talent, for just your willingness to join me tonight and share your gift with Kentucky and beyond. You are a phenomenal dancer. Thank you for sharing your heart.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for creating this beautiful piece of poetry to go along with movement.
Thank you. So thank you so much for joining me. We're a few minutes over, but I certainly wanted people to have the opportunity to see you do what you do best.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you all so much for joining me. Kentucky Performing Arts at Home. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you so much, Jecorey, for joining me through a night of poetry, music, and dance. Thank you, Kentucky Performing Arts, for allowing me to share my gift with Kentucky and beyond. Please, everybody, have a wonderful Mother's Day weekend. Please be safe. Stay at home if you can, be healthy at home, and please be safe. We are Team Kentucky as we work to get through this pandemic together. Thank you all so much for joining me. Bye-bye.